times. I would now request Professor Ratna R. Baramgowda to welcome all the dignitaries and the participants to the meet. Please, ma'am.
A very good morning to everyone. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P. Ishwar Bhatt, esteemed resource person, Mr. Sridhar Prabhu, Registrar Mohammad Zubair, Registrar Evaluation, Professor G.B. Patil, esteemed invitees, faculty members, and dear students. Today's special lecture is organized to commemorate the 79th anniversary of Quit India Movement. Quit India Movement was a call given by Mahatma Gandhiji on 8th August 1942 as a part of the civil disobedience movement to end the British rule in India. Quit India Movement, or Bharat Chodo Andolan, also known as August Movement or August Kranti, in which Gandhiji had given the slogan, "Do or die." This movement, it was brutally repressed by the British government in India, and most of the popular leaders who participated in the movement, they were arrested. Britishers, they resorted to lathi charge and other violent means to suppress the movement. However, the Quit India movement changed the course of negotiations with the British and ultimately led to India's independence. Freedom struggle and values such as patriotism and determination. In the present times, it is very important that youngsters and adults need to learn and to imbibe. It's time that we all take a pause for a moment to rededicate ourselves to the core values which the freedom struggle stood for, and to commit ourselves and adhere to these values. Today, we have a very eminent person, Mr. Sridhar Prabhu, advocate, Bengaluru, and Academic Council member, Karnataka State Law University, to address on the topic, Mahatma and the Modern Times. Sir, we thank you for having spared your valuable time to address our students. And on behalf of university, I express a hearty welcome to you, sir. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P. Ishwar Bhatt, I extend a very warm welcome to our beloved Vice Chancellor. A cordial welcome to our esteemed Registrar, Mr. Mohammad Zubair, Professor G.B. Patil, Registrar Evaluation, and a very warm welcome to all the esteemed invitees, principals and teachers from our affiliated law colleges. I also extend a hearty welcome to Dr. Rajendra Kumar Hittangi, the coordinator of the program, Shri Girish Kauda Patil, Shri Biradar, and all our dear faculty members, and a warm welcome to all our dear students. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. I also extend a warm welcome to you as well, ma'am. I now request Dr. Rajendra Kumar Hittangi, Assistant Professor, KSLU, to introduce us the resource person for the day. Please, sir.
Good morning to all dignitaries and participants. I deem it a great pleasure to introduce resource person of today's online lecture series, Sri Sridhar Prabhu. Sir studied 5 years integrated law course in Bangalore University Law College, Bangalore. Sir has nearly more than 2 decades of practice experience before the High Court of Karnataka and tribunals and authorities on writs, constitutional matters, education service, labor and allied matters. Sir is a panel member of so many statutory bodies, corporations and authorities. Panel Council for Bar Council of India in the High Court of Karnataka, as well as Panel Council for Karnataka State Legal Service Authorities, Panel Council for Karnataka Sanskrit University, Bangalore, Sir is also counsel for Karnataka Tanda Development Corporation Limited. And sir is also associated with other institutions. Like sir is currently serving as a member academic council, our university, Karnataka State Law University. Sir is also legal advisor to Bharatiya Kisan Sangh and also Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh. Sir has served as the vice chairman of the Energy Committee of the Federation of Karnataka Chambers of Commerce and Industries. Sir is also legal advisor to a number of industry associations and trade bodies, including Indian Energy Exchange and Indian Machine Tool Manufacturers Association and other bodies also. Sir has contributed several articles in English and vernacular publications and various journals. And sir is also contributed to various blogs and all. Sir's interview has been also broadcasted in Chandan channel. I happen to listen to sir's interview in that channel. Sir, we are very much fortunate to have you as a resource person to speak on the subject Mahatma and the modern times. Sir, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Honorable Vice Chancellor, I profusely thank you for the opportunity conferred. I thank Honorable Registrar Evaluation, Professor Ratna Bharamgaudar, and my teacher, Professor V. Sudesh, also is kind enough to join this program. We must, I think, increase the academic interaction with Bangalore University Law College as well. I'm saying this with a sense of pride that I belong to ULC, University Law College. And our very being today, I'm given this opportunity because I was educated from that alma mater. So I'm deeply obliged that the program has invited a lot of academic and public intellectuals across various spaces. And I also thank the students for your valuable time that you have spared for this important topic. Well, I would say that Mahatma is not a matter of intellectual debate. If you want to understand Mahatma, the contemporary relevance of Mahatma, you need to ponder, you need to go inside yourself to realize his worth. There are people about whom you get impressed by merely looking at them, by listening to their speeches, by their intellectual erudition, by the command of their language, the diction. And some people impress us by their looks and optics, I would say, by glamour. Some people impress us by their writings. Some people impress us by their worldview or political ideology that they hold. But Mahatma is one person about whom you will not realize unless you peep inside yourself and awaken your own innate being. What we call in Kannada, Gandhiji ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಭಾವಕೋಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಧ್ಯಾನಿಸಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯ ಚಿಂತನ ಅಥವಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಸರಳೀಕೃತವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. Now, if we have to ponder within, we have to be intellectually honest. Ours is a generation where we have been dubiously deceptive about Mahatma's perceptions in public and in private. A lot of poisonous information has been spread within us. It is so much to the extent that we rejoice his killing, we worship his killers, we think he is an irrelevant personality in our political space today. We think he was extremely coward or extremely hypocritic. We think that he was responsible for the division of this country. So these are extreme thoughts that we harbor within us. With Mahatma, we keep his photo on all our office spaces, on our official spaces, but I don't think we have the same worshipful or reverential attitude towards Mahatma within ourselves. This we must acknowledge, we must admit, and then proceed to examine about Mahatma. Now, having said that, if you have to understand the greatness of this man, the Quit India movement is the most opportune moment in. Please understand the context of the Quit India movement and how the battle lines were drawn. The Quit India movement was started by Mahatma Gandhi's speech on 8th of August in Mumbai. And minutes after the speech, the entire Congress leadership was detained without the due process of law. And a number of people rejoiced this, let me tell you. In fact, the Quit India movement was repressed by British by using two tools and tackles. One, in the intellectual space, the people who supported Mahatma on many other issues did not support Mahatma on this issue. Let us begin by making an inquiry into how the nation was divided during the Quit India movement and what Gandhi did to us, which ultimately attained freedom, which ultimately led to attainment of freedom of India. Now, Dr. Ambedkar, I am myself an Ambedkarite, a very strong supporter of Dr. Ambedkar, but having said that, I must candidly say, because I spoke about intellectual honesty, so I must begin by that, by saying Dr. Ambedkar was part of the British cabinet, imperial cabinet known as Viceroy's Council during 1942 to 1946. So when the Quit India movement, when the entire nation was engaged in Quit India movement, Dr. Ambedkar was part of the British cabinet. This is a fact. So he willingly or unwillingly could not support this movement. Then there was Communist Party of India, which publicly opposed Mahatma Gandhi and the freedom fighters on the ground that Quit India movement will weaken the World War efforts of the British, because Soviet Union was fighting alongside Britain. So if you fight British, then you are fighting USSR, and then therefore Quit India movement is anti-people, anti-worker, was the stand taken by CPI, very open stand taken by CPI. In fact, the Communist Party supported the British in many ways in building an intellectual capacity against the imperialist struggle. Hindu Mahasabha was against Quit India movement on the ground that the foundational issue that needs to be resolved before British quit is about the Hindus and Muslims. Jinnah was vehemently siding with the British, thinking that British will help divide India. And Jinnah's contribution in killing the unity, integrity of India is pretty well known, so I don't need to elaborate on that point. Subhash Chandra Bose was siding with the German and the Axis powers, which were against the British. So even though he was against the British, he was in search of another solution, a completely diverse solution to the Indian freedom struggle. If the efforts of Subhash Chandra Bose had succeeded in siding with Hitler, and if Hitler had invaded India, and if we had become a colony of the imperialist Germany, Nazi Germany, it is anybody's guess as to where we would have led ourselves to. Then there was a complete ecosystem of administration led by Indian civil services, the imperialist police, the military. In fact, the Allied forces, which were fighting together with British, never supported Quit India movement, except the United States, and that too to a very feeble extent. Nobody ever said that British must extend at least some concessions to India in view of the fact that the entire nation has stood with the guts and valor behind Gandhiji. So just imagine the guts of this man, the greatness of this man, by imagining the fact that nobody, virtually nobody, was with Mahatma when Quit India movement was started in India. So the greatness of Mahatma is in his conviction to stand for a cause when the entire ecosystem is against you. Your own people are against you. So as lawyers, you will encounter this kind of a situation in future life, or even you will encounter soon after you leave college, where people will guide you with so many career avenues. Some people will say, what is there in practice? Please go to some corporate avenues, get some corporate job, cozy job. You'll get 1 lakh rupees per month. Be happy. Don't loiter around in the court corridors doing nothing, doing politics. This is all useless. So don't take up litigation. Somebody will tell you, hey, this corporate job is slavery. Don't go and join a corporate job. Take up independent practice. That is, then you will realize your worth. That is the correct thing to do. Stand for something, argue a case. You will become famous. You will become important person in society. So that's the way to be. Then some people will say, take up UPSC, be an IAS officer. Some people will say, take up politics. So what I'm trying to say is, you will come across situations where people will perturb you with their thoughts, their ideologies, their mindsets. And you yourself will fight a struggle within yourself as to what is to be done. But if you study Mahatma's life, he was unperturbed by any disturbances. His singular aim was to attain freedom, and he did all that he could to attain freedom. There were people who argued that India's political freedom is worthless without the social democracy. In fact, Dr. Ambedkar, in his famous speech on Grammar of Anarchy, said that the social democracy must be attained. Political freedom is just a small thing that we have attained. There were thoughts which inspired millions of people on that, on those times when Subhash Chandra Bose gave call, a clarion call to the nation that give me blood and I'll give you freedom. Bhagat Singh was the icon of the youth. Jinnah entirely vertically split the intellectual space by creating a schism within the Muslim intellectuals. In fact, some of the Communist Party members also joined Muslim League, thinking that Muslim League is fighting the cause of the downtrodden. In fact, in Bengal, when Quit India movement was at its peak, the government there did not support the Quit India movement. In fact, Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, who was part of the Krishak party in West Bengal, also took a stand that Quit India movement is highly anarchist. Many people believed that Mahatma Gandhi is an anarchist. So in the midst of this storm, Mahatma stood his ground. And please understand, in 1942, we were at the most decisive phase of our freedom struggle. If we had confused ourselves in 1920s or 1930s, it would have made some sense, because we were just collecting thoughts on how to lead a freedom struggle, how to take us to the imperialist freedom. But when the experience of 100 years of fighting for India's freedom had taught us a lot of lessons, we still were confused. So Mahatma never allowed any confusions to galore within the public space and inspired millions of people to dedicate themselves and lay down their lives for the cause of freedom. This is one great quality as lawyers we must imbibe, that whatever may be the distractions and confusions that people may create, stand your ground, stand for what you stand for. Never get confused. Now, that is one contemporary relevance that we must today get inspired from Gandhi. There are millions of pieces of information that are being fed to us. In fact, there is information overflooding, information tsunami, where you don't know what is good, what is not, what to choose, what to not. But once you decide, be truthful to that cause, espouse this cause with all your heart and brain, invest yourself in that thought. That is Gandhi's relevance, contemporary relevance to our times. That is one thing. Second, Gandhiji, you see, the spectacle that he used is very unique. The spectacle that he used, you know, the glasses, the size of the glasses, the shape of the glasses that Gandhiji used. Somebody asked Gandhiji as to why you use this glass, because he said, when the lens break, I can fit any other lens into that, you know, that fulcrum. The other types of glasses did not give Gandhiji this freedom. He made his life an epitome of simplicity. Even the dress that he wore, the glasses that he wore were so simple, so minimalist, that today the contemporary relevance of Gandhiji is evident from the fact that we are also turning to minimalism. There is a documentary in Netflix, which was originally produced in the US in 2015, called Minimalism. I request the students to kindly see that documentary once in your life. A very important documentary. There is this rule of 90-90 that is being propounded. The 90-90 rule says, if you have not used any item for 90 days in your past, and if you think you will not use it for next 90 days, discard that item. Discard that. This 90-90 can be 100, 100, 120, 120, 300 by 300, 1 year to 1 year. So that is your convenience. That depends on how you would like to, you know, adjust your life. But the rule that you must discard things that you don't need on a long-term basis or a medium-term basis or on a short-term basis, based on your, you know, worldview that you hold, is the entire contribution of Mahatma Gandhi to remain simple in the literal sense is the most difficult thing to practice. People can give speeches, people can lecture you around, people can, you know, convince you so convincingly that you will get inspired by their talks, but to live what you say and live continuously throughout your political struggle is what actually makes Gandhi remarkable. So minimalism today is the need of the hour, because we are polluting our oceans, we are polluting our land, our space as well. And today, COVID, to a great extent, is due to our lifestyles, because we have acclimatized ourselves to the mass production and, you know, crowding up and many sorts of unwanted things that we have unlearned over the times are a result of this. The pandemic is a result of all this, my estimation. The food habits that we have cultivated. So Mahatma Gandhi is relevant today because of his minimalist lifestyle, the vegetarianism that he propounded, though it is very highly contesting, highly controversial to suggest that, but it is a fact that had we opted Gandhian way, we would not have led ourselves to this disaster. Then, in 1996, when I was part of the University Law College, I was invited to Bharati Vidya Bhavan by a friend of mine. He just said, just come, see me for 5 minutes and go. I was curious as to what he actually wanted to convey. I went to Bharati Vidya Bhavan to see about 50 people in a hall researching on Gandhi. And I was amazed to find that Mahatma Gandhi's works, complete works, are being translated to Kannada by Bharati Vidya Bhavan. And people have come voluntarily to do that job without any expectation, no money. For years, people dedicated themselves to this effort. I was just curious to find out how many books Gandhiji has written. See, popularly we know his autobiography. We know about Sindhu Swaraj, a couple of popular books that we can talk about. Gandhiji has written the collected works of it is not entire works, it is selected works that are published in English today. You go to any library, important library, you will find 100 volumes published by Gandhiji, which are called selected works, not complete works. And each volume has about 600 plus pages. Just imagine this, 600 plus pages, 100 volumes. Now, to write one page, I mean the printed page, one needs to write at least 2 to 3 pages of handwriting, and Gandhiji wrote quite fast, and his handwriting was, he wrote big letters. So at least 4 or 5 pages will sum up to 1 page of printed material, say. Now, 6 into 600 into 100. I'm not good in math. That's why I joined law. Just make this calculation and find out that this man wrote so much. This man wrote such colossal amount of information. I repeat, 6 pages into 600 into 100 volumes. Now, can you imagine that a person can forget writing? Can we read so much of books? Can we just look? Have we looked at books? At least have we at least seen so many books in our lives? Or can we hope that we would have, this is the colossal contribution of Mahatma Gandhi. As lawyers, we will reach a phase where money keeps coming without effort. This is unfortunate, but what Mahatma Gandhi said as sins, we will soon commit. Without industry, without effort, we'll get money. That's a fact that if you reach about 20-25 years of practice, then slowly your industry, your acumen, your efforts are not required to generate money. So in this phase of your career, you will stop reading, stop writing. Why should I write? Why should I read? If, I used to write because I want to learn, I want to make money. And to write something, you require some intellectual cleanse within. To write something is an effort of engaging with oneself, to question oneself or to talk to oneself. But once you become corrupt intellectually, morally, politically, socially, you don't talk to yourself because you feel ashamed. And you can't produce something worthwhile because you feel so disgruntled or disgusted about yourself that you don't feel like writing. We reach this phase. But Mahatma never reached this phase. This is the contemporary relevance of Gandhi, that he kept writing. He cleansed his inner space to such an extent that the reflections within translated as words. Then Mahatma Gandhi is criticized by a number of people on a number of planes. I will not go to that individual realms at all where he is being criticized, he is being critical. But I must tell you that all this criticism, all this vulgarity that has surrounded Gandhi's the Gandhian criticism is all due to Gandhiji's own writings. In fact, when he was at the pinnacle, at the zenith of his career, political career, he opened up and wrote autobiography. And see, in my humble view, it is Gandhi who wrote autobiography in the real sense. In Kannada, if I have to switch to Kannada for a moment, Atma Charitre Bere, Jivana Vrittanta Bere. Then Gamanisbeku. Atma Charitre is your experiments, your feelings, and your life. which you open up and keep it on the platter, public platter. But ಜೀವನ ವೃತ್ತ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ದೆ, ಹಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ದೆ, ನಾನು ಇಂತಿಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ದೆ. You don't talk to yourself. You look at yourself like an outsider and write your story. But in autobiography, in the real sense, autobiography is a peep inside. And most of the autobiographic material is self-critical. But Jivana Vrittanta is self-glorification. ಕತೆ ಬರೆಯೋದು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ನಾನ್ ಫಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. Mahatma Gandhi opened up and experimented and put it on public platter for the public consumption. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಯಾರನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ದೊಡ್ಡ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ. If the great people in our lives or in the public space today, if they open up their lives and keep everything on public platter, I am sure that they will be shot dead. Or people, they will be so much abhorred and so much displeased that you will be shocked. Your own parents, your own friends, close friends, teachers, politicians, the worshipful celebrities, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಇಂಥದ್ದು ನಾವು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ನಿಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಕೆಲವು ಸರ್ತಿ ನಾವೇ ನೇಣು ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. Mahatma Gandhi, when the whole nation called, it is Rabindranath Tagore who called him Mahatma. And there was huge criticism that is being leveled by British media, by so many other people. In that time only, to self-aggrandize himself and to make himself great, he could have added more material to his self-aggrandizement. But instead, he went on another curve where he said, look, I will open up my life and say, these are the mistakes that I committed. This is what I have done. Now, if you are to accept me with all these mistakes. Otherwise, I'm sorry. Don't accept. Don't worship. It is one thing to say, ಯಾರು ಹಾರ ಹಾಕ್ತಿವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಾರ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡಿ, ನಾನಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡವನಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೊಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಕೊಡಿ. This is a very intellect, very simple, very good gesture. But to say, ನಾನು ಇಂತಿಂತ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ, and accept me along with this. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಂಗೆ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ, ನನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ. This honesty to yourself, this you don't do with any amount of ಆತ್ಮ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷಣೆ ನಿಜವಾದ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ, ಅತ್ಯುನ್ನತ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ. Gandhiji was deeply inspired. I'm coming to another topic, why he is contemporarily great and what is his greatness and what makes him contemporary to the modern times. Mahatma Gandhi was from Gujarat, and the Jain philosophers who influenced Karnataka and many other places have in fact visited Gujarat at one point in time or not. Gujarat nalli a Jaina Tattva-darshan, Jain philosophy was at its peak. At one point in time, Karnataka had about 30% Jains, 33% Jains. And ನಮ್ಮ ಮಾನ್ಯಖೇಟ, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಕೂಟರ ರಾಜಧಾನಿ ಮಾಳ್ಖೇಡ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಗುಲ್ಬರ್ಗಾ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ. That was the capital of Rashtrakutas. Rashtrakuta Empire was bigger than the United India and much more. This was the Jain heritage that we have inherited in Karnataka and in India. So Gandhiji was deeply inspired by Jainism. Jainralli Anekatavada anta ide. This is a beautiful philosophy. One must engage oneself. Anekatavada anta helidre, it is not tolerance to any particular diversity. See, there is diversity in thought, in political philosophy, worldviews, religions. Ee space nalella diversity ide. And what we say, we should be tolerant to that. Tolerance is a very bad thing. Tolerance ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಯಾರು ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಸಪ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಯಾರೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಸಪ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟಾಲರೇಟಿಂಗ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟಾಲರೆನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್. ಅವರು ಸರಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಇಸ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, ದಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಆಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೈ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಎಲಿವೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಂಬುವಂಥದ್ದು. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಅನೇಕತಾವಾದ. ಜೈನಿಸಮ್ contributed this to our political ideology. to our religious ideology, to our spiritual philosophy. Jains, not Jain philosophy, not Jains. Jainರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ತರದ ಜನ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಜಾತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಧರ್ಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ತರದ ಜನ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಜೈನ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ, ಜೈನಿಸಂ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, every thought and action is a result of his own searching, every individual searching, and if somebody has searched that path, it must be correct for him and he will also reach. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಧ್ಯ ಬಿಂದುಗೆ ಬಂದು ಸೇರ್ಕೋಬಹುದಂತ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳು ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಅವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಸೇರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೇಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ನದಿಗಳು ಸಾಗರಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರ್ಲೇಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ವಾದವನ್ನ ಅನೇಕತಾವಾದ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಟ್ರೂಲಿ ಬಿಲೀವ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಅದರ್ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಲೀಡರ್ of our times who perfectly believes this. People will tolerate. ಆಯ್ತು, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟಿ, ನಮ್ದೊಂದು ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ, ನಮ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ರಾಜಕಾರಣಿಗಳು. ಅಥವಾ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಹಿಂಸಾ ಮಾರ್ಗ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು. ಬಟ್ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ನೆವರ್ ಎವರ್ ಟ್ರೈಡ್ ಟು ಇಂಟೆಲೆಕ್ಚುಯಲಿ ಆರ್ ಮಾರಲಿ ಕ್ಲೇಮ್ ಒನ್ ಅಪ್ಮನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಓವರ್ ಅದರ್ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಲೀಡರ್ಸ್. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನಿಮ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ನಿಮ್ ತಲೆ ಸರಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಹಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಜಗಳ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರನೂ ಹೋಗಿ. He perfectly respected all the political, leaders of his times, and not only that, he firmly believed that also will lead to that goal. Illa andiದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ, if Gandhiji, the person of Gandhiji's stature, would have easily demolished many a people. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ವಿಲನ್ಸ್, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ವಿಲನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು, ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಜನರೇ ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ದೇ ಇರೋ ತರ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು. He never demolished personas. He honestly believed what they say makes sense. But what he firmly believed was that if India's independence is a result of bloodshed or violent revolution or a social unrest, then we will inherit that kind of a political regime, which will again lead to counter-revolution and another set of violence. So therefore, the choice that Gandhiji made was a very conscious choice, not for his needs, it was for our needs. ನಾಳೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಬದುಕ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತ ಪ್ರಜೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಹೊರತು political, if he wanted to become a hero, he would have become a hero by just choosing a violent path. He was a fearless leader, never feared death. ಬಟ್ಟೆನೆ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳದೆ ಇಡೀ ಬಾಡಿಯನ್ನ ವಲ್ನರಬಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸಾವಿಗೆ ಹೆದರದೇ ಇರೋದು ಇನ್ನೇನಿದೆ. ಕ್ರಿಮಿ ಕೀಟಗಳು ಕಚ್ಚಬಹುದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೈ ವಿತ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಳಿಗೆ ಸತ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಡುವುದು. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಬಿಟ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಉಪವಾಸದಲ್ಲೇ ಸತ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಡುವುದು. ಈವನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಹೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ವಿಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ he lost his wife, he lost all his dear ones, he again went for 21 days fasting. ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಇಲ್ದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಓಡಾಡಿ, ಇಷ್ಟು ಪುಟಗಳನ್ನ ಬರೆದು, ನಾನು ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ದೆನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಓಡಾಡಿ, ದಂಡಿ ಯಾತ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ತಮ್ಮನ್ ತಾವು ಅಷ್ಟು ವಲ್ನರಬಿಲಿಟಿ ತೊಡಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡಿದ ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಬಂದೂಕ್ ಹಿಡಿದು ಹೊಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ವಾ? He can easily do that, very easily do that. But he never did that, because if India's freedom was a result of bloodshed, then we will become a completely violent nation, what Pakistan has become, what China has become, or many other dictatorial regimes have become. So ಕೊಲ್ಲೋದು ಸರಿ ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ ಕೊಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಸರಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಯಾರು ಕೊಂದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ಯಾಕೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ನೀವು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಕೊಲ್ಲೋದು ಸರಿ, ಅವ್ರು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಕೊಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾಕೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗುತ್ತೆ? So therefore, despite lot of temptations to take up arms, he never ever took to arms, because he did a favor to us, not to the generation that was fighting freedom. Because we may have, I don't know, but we may have accelerated our path to freedom if we had chosen violence, but we would not have inherited an equitable society, socially, politically equitable society. Then Gandhi's greatness, ಇದೆಲ್ಲೂ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬಿಡಿ ಬಿಡಿ ಪುಟಗಳಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಒಂದು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಬಟ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಬಿಡಿಯಾಗಿ ಈ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ತಾವು ಅಪ್ರಿಶಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. ವಿಜಯವಾಡಗೊಮ್ಮೆ ನಾನು ಹೋದಾಗ ಒಬ್ರು ಒಂದು ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದಂತಹ ಜಾಗವನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ, ನೀವು ನೋಡಿರಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಂತ ಜಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ PUC, ವೆರಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟಿವ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಲೈಫ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಚಿಂತನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಹವ್ಯಾಸ ನನ್ಗಿದ್ದಿದ್ರಿಂದ ಹಿರಿಯರು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಂಗೆ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ವಿಜಯವಾಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಗೋರಾ ಆಶ್ರಮ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, ಗೋರಾ ಆಶ್ರಮ. ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ನೆವರ್ ಹರ್ಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿಯ ಪ್ರಸಾದ ಇಸ್ ಬೀಫ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪೋರ್ಕ್. ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ. ಇದೇನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೊಂದು ವೈಚಾರಿಕ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಗೋರಾ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಗೋಪ ರಾಮಚಂದ್ರ ರಾವ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಡಿಸೈಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಗಾಂಧಿ. He was an atheist, a radicalist, free thinker who believed in atheism as a political philosophy. Atheism ನಿಂದಾಗಿ ಮಾನವೀಯತೆ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾಸ್ತಿಕತೆಯೇ ಮಾನವೀಯತೆಯ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣದ ದಾರಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಬಹಳ ಶುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ನಂಬಂತವ್ರು. ಅವರ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಆ ಆಶ್ರಮವನ್ನ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಗೋರಾ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಆ ಆಶ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದೂ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಯಾವ ಧರ್ಮ ಜಾತಿ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಹೋದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಮನುಷ್ಯರು ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಆಹಾರ ತಿಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಣುವಾಗಿ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಯಾವ ಆಹಾರವನ್ನು ತಿಂದ್ರು ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಕಾರ್ಬೋಹೈಡ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ತಿನ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಇದನ್ನ ತಿನ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋಂತ ಯಾವ್ದು ಇರಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ. ಈಗ he was a great Gandhian, please remember this. A militant atheist. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಫ್ಯಾಷನಬಲ್ ಆಗಿ ರಿಚರ್ಡ್ ಡಾಕಿನ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಓದ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಸ್ ಎಥಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಅವ್ರ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಐಕೋನೋಕ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್, ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಡೆಮಾಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಯಾರು ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂತಹ ಚಿಂತನಶೀಲ, ಅತ್ಯುಗ್ರ ಚಿಂತನಶೀಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಗೋರಾ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಗಾಂಧಿಯನ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಎಚ್ ನರಸಿಂಹಯ್ಯನವರು ಇಸ್ ಅ ಗಾಂಧಿಯನ್, ಮಿಲಿಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಥಿಸ್ಟ್, ಅಗೇನ್ ವೈಚಾರಿಕವಾದಿ, ದೇವರಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದವರು ಮತ್ತು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕವಾಗಿ ಆ ಬದುಕನ್ನ ಬದುಕಂತ ಒಬ್ಬ ವಿನೋಬಾ ಭಾವೆ ಇಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು ಗೋರಾ ತನಕ ಆ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಭಕ್ತಿ ಪಂಥದ ಪರಾಕಾಷ್ಠೆಯನ್ನು ತುಂಬಿದಂಥವ್ರು ಗಾಂಧಿವಾದಿಗಳಾಗಿದ್ರು. ದಿನ ಭಜನೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥವ್ರು, ದೇವರಲ್ಲೇ ತಲ್ಲೀನರಾದಂಥವ್ರು, ಇಡೀ ತಮ್ಮ ಅಸ್ತಿತ್ವನೇ ದೇವರ ಮೇಲಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥವ್ರು ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಮಿಲಿಟೆಂಟ್ ಎಥಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದವರು ಸಹ ಗಾಂಧಿಯನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ರು. If Gandhiji was acceptable to this cross spectrum of people, a Vibjor, a rainbow intellectual forum, just see his relevance. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವರು ವಿಚಾರವಾದಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಭಕ್ತಿ ಪಂಥದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಷ್ಟನ್ನು ಪಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವರ ಫಾಲೋವರ್ಸು ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದ್ ತರದ ಕಂಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅವನ್ ಯಾರೋ ಗಂಟೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ, ಅವನ ಯಾರೋ ಅರ್ಶನ ಕುಂಕುಮ, ನಮ್ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಶನ ಕುಂಕುಮ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಕೆಲವರು ಭೂಸಾ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಅಂಥ ವಿಚಾರವಾದಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗುವಂತ ಮತ್ತು ಭಕ್ತಿ ಪಂಥಕ್ಕೂ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗುವಂತವ್ರು ಗಾಂಧಿ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಸಿ, ಆಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಯರ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಎ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ವೇರ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು, ಆಸ್ ಅ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಫೇವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ ಕೇಸನ್ನ, ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ ಕೇಸ್, ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಎರಡು ಕಡೆನೂ ಕೇಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ? ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು be bad to another person invariably. That is your that is innate to your discipline that you have chosen. Idu case ಆಯ್ತು. But political space ನಲ್ಲಂತೂ ನೀವು you have to be antagonistic to the other party. ಹೇಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ನೀವು how can you remain relevant if you don't stand for something and oppose something? And if you oppose something, you are incurring wrath. So Gandhiji is an epitome of how to remain from views and living those views. Please read Dange, his speech in Parliament. Shripad Amrit Dange one speech in Madidare, Mahatma Gandhi avara hatye adaga. How much he loved Gandhi. Communists who fought Gandhi all along, chided him, ridiculed him, cried when he died. Many people cried when Gandhiji died. Many people who opposed him tooth and nail said, "Yantha manshan kalkonbitri." Just imagine your opponents are marginalized. Sanna mattina virodha irbodu Gandhiji ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ನ. ಯಾರು ಇಂಥ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರು, ಜಿನ್ನಾ ತರದವರು ಅಥವಾ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಸ್ಟ್ರು, ಆದ್ರೆ ರಾಜಕೀಯವಾಗಿ ಅವರು ತುಂಬಾ ರೆಲೆವೆಂಟೇ ಆಗಿದ್ರು. ಸಿ, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ after independence, the principal opposition party was CPI, Communist Party of India, which was second only to Congress. Though Congress led leaps and bounds, the victory was huge in 1952 elections, but Communist Party also was relevant. And in fact, 90% of the public intellectuals were from the Communist Party. But ಇವರು ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯನ್ನು ಎಷ್ಟೇ ವಿರೋಧ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಏನೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಅವರನ್ನು ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೇಬೇಕಾದಂತ ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯತೆ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿತ್ತು. So a man's greatness is evident from the fact that your bitterest opponents also are compelled to acknowledge your contemporary relevance. This is what you must be as a lawyer. People may hate you, people may think you are too much, ಏನ್ರಿ ಎಷ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಕೇಸ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೊಡೆದಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಏನೇನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, but ultimately they must have some respect, because once you do it with intellectual honesty, people will acknowledge your efforts, your persona. Finally, I would request, if anybody has questions, I'll be more than glad to. Have I reached the final phase of my speech, madam? 45 minutes, Saridia.
Sir, you can continue.
Okay, another 5-10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yes.
So, ಈ ಹಂತ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ವರ್ತಮಾನ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಾವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ದೂಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. Now, first question that we must ask is, we have polluted every form of our existence. We have to live on earth, we have polluted earth. Our land, ನಮ್ಮ ವಾಟರ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಳೆಗಳು, ಭೂಮಿ ಯಾವ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಇಳಿತಾ ಇದೆ, ನೀರಿನ ಮಹತ್ವ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದ್ಯಾ, ಸ್ಯಾನಿಟೇಷನ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದ್ಯಾ. There was recently a public interest litigation on sanitary pads not being distributed to girl children in schools, and how school dropout rate has increased due to this. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Sanitation is such an important need which we neglected for years. Only thanks to Swachh Bharat, etc., it is now rejuvenated. Even Swachh Bharat, cess was collected, but how much of cess was invested is a matter of concern. Okay, so never ಆ ಸೆಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಚ್ಛ ಆಗೋ ಬದಲು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತರ್ಯದಲ್ಲೇ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಚ್ಛತೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಸ್ವಚ್ಛತೆ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಕಾಣಿಸೋಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿಸಿದ್ದು ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ. So this is his relevance today for sanitation, cleanliness. You clean inside, you clean up inside, you reflect that cleanliness outside. So ಇದು ಅವರ ಕಂಟೆಂಪ್ರರಿ relevance. ಮತ್ತು ಇವತ್ತು ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಯಾವ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ತಂದು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, we don't clean up our inboxes for months. ಹೊರಗೆ ಹುಡುಕಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 ಮೇಲ್ಗಳು ಸಿಗ್ತವೆ. These mails are sitting in the servers across the globe. Now, if you compute the number of servers that are required to store all this, it is unimaginable. I'm told recently I saw a WhatsApp message on medals in Tokyo being prepared from waste material, the cyber junk that we create. ಇದರಿಂದ ಮೆಡಲ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಓದಿದ್ವಿ. So ನೋಡಿ, ಗಾಂಧಿ is relevant even in the Tokyo Olympics times. ಕಸದಿಂದ ರಸ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಜೈವಿಕ ವಿಧಾನಗಳು, ಜೀವಂತಿಕೆಯ ಸಂಕೇತಗಳು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಜೀವಂತವಾಗಿದ್ದಾವೆ ಇನ್ನು. ಅಂಡ್ ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಯಸೋದು, see, let us be honest in our viewpoints. The biggest obituary or biggest Shraddhanjali that we can submit to Gandhi is to be honest. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿಯವರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅನೇಕ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾವೆ, ಅವುಗಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಭಾವಕೋಶದಿಂದ ಉತ್ತರಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಭಾವಕೋಶಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹೊರಗಡೆ ನೋಟಕ್ಕೆ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಬ ಅರೆನಗ್ನ ಫಕೀರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಚರ್ಚಿಲ್ ಕರೆದಿದ್ರು. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೆಟ್ಟದಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕಿ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ವಿನಃ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ಅನ್ರಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಪ್ಪುಗಟ್ಟಿವೆ. ಆ ಹೆಪ್ಪುಗಟ್ಟಿದ್ದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹೊರ ಹಾಕದೆ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡದೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಇವತ್ತು ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಿಂದೂ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರು ಇವತ್ತು ಕೆಲವರು ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ವಿ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ವಾದಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಡಿವೋಟ್ ಹಿಂದೂ, but he never believed in antiquity. Please understand this. This is very important. ಆಧುನಿಕ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. What democracy means, a modern secular permissive democracy means, where the state has no religion, state cannot espouse any religion, and your citizenship cannot be based on religion, your political existence cannot be based on your religion. Idanna avaru bala spashtavagi artha ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. So he never believed in population transfer or this kind of dangerous theories that are gaining ground. At the same time, he opposed conversions, religious conversions, proselytizations, on this count that anything forceful he opposed. That was the true spirit of a democrat. Even ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಕೂಡ ಫೋರ್ಸಿಬ್ಲಿ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲೂ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು, ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಆಂತರ್ಯದಿಂದ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಟ್ರಸ್ಟಿಶಿಪ್ ದಟ್ ಹಿ ಹಸ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಕಲ್ಪನೆಗಳು ಇವತ್ತು ಸತ್ಯ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ. ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಅಂಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಲೆಡ್ ಟು ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಬಡವರಿಗೆ ಜಮೀನನ್ನು ಅವರಿಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಗಳನ್ನು ಹಾಕ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಜಮೀನನ್ನ ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ನಾವು. ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಅದೇ ಜಮೀನನ್ನೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಕ್ವೈರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅಮೆಂಡೆಡ್ ಟುಡೇ, ಅಂಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ 100 years ಬ್ಯಾಕ್. ಗಾಂಧಿಯನ್ ವಿಧಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ, ಭೂದಾನದ ಮುಖಾಂತರವಾಗಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ಎಫರ್ಟ್, ದಿಸ್ ವುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ದಿ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್. Because it was through a political legislative making process, this led to this. And again, through a legislation, we are reacquiring the same land and becoming more industrial than required. So anything done with force, anything done without democratic acknowledgement is bound to fail. So Gandhi is relevant today because he never forced himself. On the all others, avರೆಲ್ಲರೂ villain. He never demonized anybody. So he is relevant today. ಯಾರು ಡಿಮನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, and they went to a political oblivion. So therefore, as a generation, a dubious distinction ಇದೆ ನಮಗೆ, that we don't engage with Gandhi honestly anta. The biggest contribution that we can, the biggest thing that we can do to ourselves, biggest help that we can do to ourselves is to be honest in our viewpoints and to engage with Gandhi, read Gandhi. ಅವಕಾಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಧ್ಯಾನಿಸಿ ಅದು ತಪ್ಪು ಸರಿ ಎನ್ನ ಅದರ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರುವಂತಹ ಚಿಂತನೆಯನ್ನೇ ನಾವು ಸರಿ ತಪ್ಪು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಗೆ ಕ್ವಿಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಆಷಾಢಭೂತಿತನ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ವಂಚಕತನ, ಆತ್ಮವಂಚಕತನವನ್ನ ಕ್ವಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, we quit all that. That is the pinnacle of our Quit India movement. Therefore, with these words, I thank you profusely for allowing this opportunity. And I request, if there are any questions, inquisitorial bombardments, I'm more than happy to answer to the extent that I can. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening and thought-provoking session. May I now request Dr. Rajendra Itangi, Assistant Professor, to deliver the vote of thanks, please, sir.
Sir, there are one or two questions, like, sir, I think that are posted in the chat box.
ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೇಳ.
Sir, please, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the first question, I think somebody says ಗಾಂಧಿ ಅವರನ್ನು ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಲ್ಲಲಾಯಿತು ಅಂತ. This we know, ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಲ್ಲಲಾಯಿತು ಅಂತ. ಹೇಗೆ ಕೊಲ್ಲಲಾಯಿತು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆ ಕಾರಣವನ್ನು ಅದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಒಬ್ಬ ನಿಶಸ್ತ್ರವಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನಾ ಮಂದಿರದಲ್ಲಿ ಗುಂಡಿಟ್ಟು ಕೊಲ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹಿಟ್ಲರ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. Some Sadak Chhap would have done it, and a Sadak Chhap only has done it. ನಾನು ಗಾಂಧಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಬಹಳ ಮೃದುವಾದ ಶಬ್ದಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಓನ್ಲಿ ಎ ಕಾವರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ ದಿಸ್. ಸಿ, ನೀವು ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ವಾದ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಕೋರ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ವಾದ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನನ್ನನ್ನು ವಾದದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಸೋಲಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಯು ಲೂಸ್ ದಟ್ ಕೇಸ್, ನೀವೇನ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದು ನಂಗೆ 2 ಹೊಡಿಬಹುದು. ಹೇಳಿ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಲಸ ತಾನೇ ಅದು. ನನ್ನನ್ನು ವಾದದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ರೆಲೆವೆನ್ಸ್, ನನ್ನ ವಾದವನ್ನ ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನ ಬೌದ್ಧಿಕ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಎದುರಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗದೇನೆ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕೊಲ್ದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ದಾರಿನೇ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫೀಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಲಜಿ. ಟುಡೇ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನಾಟ್ ಕಿಲ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ಐ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಕಿಲ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಶೋಸ್ ದಿ ವೀಕ್ನೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಐಡಿಯಾಲಜಿ ದಟ್ ಕಿಲ್ಡ್ ಗಾಂಧಿ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್. Second question is, Mr. Leonard, if we take care of the facts of a case, the law will take care of itself. Gandhiji said facts means truth. Once we adhere to truth, the law comes to our aid naturally. My question is how far it works. And a personal experience, please understand this. Many people think lawyers lie. We are liars now. Mosa ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಸುಳ್ಳು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ. We can't lie for 2 reasons. One, there is other side which will expose you, and once you get exposed, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇಡೀ career finish ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. As a lawyer, if you get branded, ಇವ್ನು ಸುಳ್ಳು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಇವ್ನ ಮಾತು ನಂಬಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರೆಟರ್ನಿಟಿ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಜಡ್ಜಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಬ್ಬರಲ್ಲೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So facts have to be presented as facts. You can't lie. Interpretation can be to your advantage, disadvantage. How you interpret is based on your intellect. Okay. So but fact ಕೊಲೆನೇ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅಥವಾ ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಮ್ಮನ್ನು ತಾವೇ ಕೊಲೆ, ಅವರು ಆತ್ಮಹತ್ಯೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಬಂದು certain things you can't lie and get away with. Okay. So narration of facts has to be accurate, though as per law, as per the procedure established by law, whether it is correct, punishable, not punishable, winnable, losable, that is another proposition. So as lawyer, it is possible to practice with honesty. Yes, of course, you will not become world famous, or you may not earn the kind of money that you think you want to earn, but of course, you will earn goodwill. People respect you. Your clients respect you. The other side respects you. This is a very slow process, and full of pitfalls, full of dangers. Because ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಇವರು ಲಾಯರ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಸೀದಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸರಳ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಸ್ ಕೊಡೋರು ಹೆದರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಬಿಲೀವ್ ಮೀ ದಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅನ್ ಈಗ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ ಆಗಿ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಲಿಟಿಗೇಷನ್ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಅನುಭವಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದದ್ದನ್ನೇ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅನ್ ಆರ್ಮ್ ಚೇರ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ ಹೂ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೀಚಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೆಡ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇದು ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ works to our advantage. Then Purbayan said, thought-provoking lecture, 2 questions. They initially spoke about how Subhash Chandra Bose had succeeded. We would have let ourselves to. Would you please elaborate a little? See, I don't need to elaborate. Just think. Hitler na ಅವರು ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಬಂದು if Hitler, sorry Purbayan, I think you, I'm sorry, I'm switching to Kannada, but I must say, if suppose Hitler had conquered India, what would have happened? Is it any, I mean, do I need to elaborate on that? If you see, if Hitler had won the World War, British did what Hitler did in an indirect manner. They looted. In fact, one example I'll give you on Gandhi's relevance. This I forgot to give. See, I'm told Jog Jalapata, so near Harita Idaga, Vishweshwaraya went and saw Jog, and he said, what a criminal waste. We should have converted it into electricity. Gandhiji would not have agreed to that, but anyway, Vishweshwaraya constructed a dam, then it led to hydroelectric power. Then the electricity was drawn. First electricity plant, Shivanasamudram, was in Asia in 1905, which was used to take gold from KGF, and the entire gold of KGF was transported to Britain for their imperialist interests. Okay. If Gandhi's viewpoint of mechanization, opposing mechanization was followed, this gold would have no industrial revolution, so-called industrial revolution, led to our exploitation. So similarly, in Subhash Chandra Bose's case, the biggest exploiter was British, no doubt, but Hitler was an exploiter and a tyrant. Exploit ಮಾಡೋದು ಇದು ಮುದ್ದಾಗಿ beautifully you tried to exploit. This was the difference. And Hitler would have, it doesn't take any great general knowledge to to know what Hitler did to the Jews and to many other people in Poland. You see graves after graves. Today India would have had some 100 more graves of that kind, and the kind of population that we had, the death rate would have been much more, 100 times more than what Europe has witnessed, perhaps. So therefore, even though there was huge amount of fascination, fan following with what Subhash Chandra Bose did, I stand firm to what I said initially, that it is Gandhi's path which ultimately led to freedom and which was the surest path to freedom.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, it is my privilege to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. Sir, on behalf of university, authorities of the university, all the participants and students, express my deep sense of gratitude to Sridhar Prabhu, a member, Academic Council, Karnataka State Law University, for speaking on relevancy of Mahatma's message like honesty, voluntarism, trusteeship, simplicity. So these are some takeaways for all of us. Sir, thank you very much. Despite your busy schedule, you have spent valuable time with us. Thank you very much, sir. I also thank Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P. Ishwar Bhatt, for encouraging us in organizing such lecture series. Thank you, sir. Our thanks are also due to Registrar Muhammad Zubair, KS, Registrar Evaluation, Professor Dr. J.B. Patil, Professor Dr. Ratna Baramgoda, Dean and Director, for guiding us in conducting such lecture series. Thank you, madam. I also thank Professor V. Sudesh for joining this particular program. Thank you, sir. I also thank all my esteemed colleagues, staff and students of our law school. And I also thank principals and the other participants for joining this particular program. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
It was highly informative, sir. Thanks a lot.